Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. So interesting trade today in Google, and we'll come back to this. And I bring this up because I've been watching CMG, and Chipotle is this, of course, has been a pretty volatile stock from the other day. And what I was looking at here is that this morning is after this big move higher yesterday, is could we get a pullback to the fire line here at 407? And if so, I'd want to be a buyer. Well, today it didn't happen, so I did not get filled on this. But this is something that I'm going to continue to look at tomorrow. However, coming back to Google, this is the trade we did on Google today, where it did come down early this morning, and this is very common where you kind of get, I'd just call it for lack of a better term, a stop run. And that was our cue to get into this trade. So on this, a fairly conservative combination of plays here. 820, 810 put credit spread, and then the 820, 830 call debit spread, both with expiration of next week. And then on something like this, a question might be, well, why not just buy the call? I mean, you bought this call, you got the long call here at 967. If you had just bought the long call, you'd have been much better off. Well, yeah, but with an option like that, and you're not sure exactly when the bounce is going to happen, so you want to be what's called a theta positive position. So here you can see we're making $88 of theta a day, meaning that if the stocks just trade sideways, the premium erosion is going to actually go into our pockets and not the market maker. So it's a conservative way to play a high price stock within the context of what a basic setup. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, a totally different one was RIG, and this is one we've been wanting to get, and RIG this morning just took off, okay, and it was off to the races. So in this case, instead of trying to buy a pullback, i.e. a sell-off at the open, I looked for the first initial flag this morning to get long the stock. So we bought some shares, but also bought some options with the idea that this stock can continue going higher, because if you pull back here and you look at the daily chart, you've got a pretty massive squeeze setting up. The stock is hard to borrow because of the high short interest, and I'm looking for $17.30. So if you look at the way we structured this one, the nice thing is when you get a lower price stock like this, you certainly can just buy the stock, but of course when there's lower priced options, you can certainly buy more of the options. The option position here, of course, representing a much bigger position than the 100 shares. But on something like this, I'm looking for it to go to $17.30, which would represent a healthy return on both of these. All right. All right, and one of the things I want to do is answer some questions about the class on Saturday, and part of this will include looking at the charts of the S&P 500 today, which, with the correlation and some things like that, actually showed some very interesting stuff. So a big question is just kind of like, okay, these classes are coming up. The setups make sense with the indicators, right? This one has one bonus indicator, and then this one includes 3 bonus indicators. So let's take a quick look at that. So a couple of things today that were interesting. First of all, the kind of the squeeze power indicator I really like is that when a squeeze triggers and it shows that there's power behind it, you're typically going to get a much bigger move than what I would call a normal squeeze. For example, here's a squeeze long with no power behind it, and right away it's telling you like, hey, this is a dud, get out. And then you got a nice little one here at the end, and then with the correlations, especially during the cash session, as you're going along, okay, everything's normal, everything's normal, everything's normal, and then you see one of the correlations break out, okay, it's telling you that guess what, shortly thereafter, stocks are going to move too. So I found that to be extremely, extremely helpful when looking at the markets. So irregardless, that's what a couple of people had asked just about the indicators, and of course the class isn't just about the indicator. We're going to be doing a lot in terms of setups and strategies in terms of what's working for this upcoming year, and the indicator is a part of that. So for the Saturday class, it starts at 12, but for those of you that are newer, we're going to have some bonus sessions starting at 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock to 11, we're just going to have options for newbies. Okay, that's just if you don't really not comfortable with options. And then from 11 to 12, I'm going to come on and just talk about my basic chart setup. So just to kind of get you up to speed, at least on the stuff that I'm looking at. And then at 12 o'clock, we'll start the regular class where we'll just kind of dive into this stuff. And yes, some of it will be about the indicator, but then there'll also just be like, hey, these are setups that I'm using in this current market right now. Okay, so this is going to be $4.97. And then there is an early bird. That is the early bird special. And I believe that does expire, yes, Wednesday the 11th tonight at midnight. So if you're thinking about doing this, I encourage you to grab that early bird special. And remember, this includes that spaghetti indicator that showed that breakout of the correlation. And then the $9.97 class is, of course, it includes the Saturday class, but also 3 days of live trading. And then it includes that power indicator and another indicator that you can use to kind of help you time these trades. So these trades, I always like these classes. They're a lot of fun. And the live trading will be the 17th, 19th, and 20th. And then keep in mind the 20th is going to be monthly expiration and inauguration. So yes, we're going to be doing some cool trades based on these indicators, but we're going to be doing some cool trades regardless because it's going to be a lot of fun. So simplertrading.com/SPY. And if you're thinking about this, going like, you know what, I've always wanted to try the live event. Guess what? You can get a great discount on the live event, and that includes this, which obviously includes this. And so that's a great way to kind of get it all for one and one for all. All right, you guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you at the next update.